Now in this review, I'm not going to focus on the spec sheet, literally go anywhere else for that. I'm going to focus on my experience using this device over the past 1 month period. And I want to start this review with the design and the form factor. We see the same aluminum build all around this device that we saw before, and that's a good thing because whether you're taking notes or you're watching videos or you're reading, all of that is super easy to do anywhere. If you're someone that watches anime in bed,
the key is to be honest with yourself,
and you're binge watching a 24 episode season, this is the device to do that with. It's so light, it's so easy to hold that having it above or next to you is just so easy. Honestly, I was watching anime on this every night. Every night for the past 30 days. I was using this in my car as well, and this was a surprise because this tablet gets very bright, surprisingly bright, making it super easy to work on things even if you're outside. Now, one point to note is that it's not as bright as the iPad Pro, but for most people's situations and for most of the tasks that you might be doing, it's bright enough. Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue on, make sure to smash that subscribe button. It really helps grow a small, tiny channel like mine, and I really appreciate each and every single one of you. If you like this video, smash that like button as well. It really helps me out. And if you don't like it, smash that dislike and let me know in the comment section below how I can improve. Thank you so much. On with the video. Aside from just watching videos, taking notes, and reading, the scrolling effect is also a noticeable upgrade from the old iPad Air. In fact, like everything about the display on the new one is so much better, and I would say just on everything I've mentioned so far that it's worth upgrading to the new one if you're using the old iPad Air. But there's a ton more that the new one can do. Given the display and how gorgeous it looks, I was like, hey, let's take this on a little gaming session, and so I'm playing. Oh, it's already running. Wow, okay. Genshin Impact. It plays the game much better than what I expected, and for sure the new M1 chip you get in this iPad has a lot to do with that performance. I played Genshin Impact on max graphics at 60 FPS for 3 hours, and the performance never slowed down. The iPad did start getting warm around the 1 hour 45 minute mark, but the performance was steady and constant throughout the entire session. I will say that I'd much rather game on the iPad Air than my phone. The large display coupled with amazing performance makes these POV type games a lot more engaging. Now with gaming and watching videos comes the sound quality. I'm very pleased with the sound. It's crisp and clear, and I honestly have no complaints about it. The iPad Pro does have better speakers that are a little bit more fuller, more robust because it has 2 on each side, making like 4. But for $200 extra, I don't think it's worth it. And for most people, for most things, these are going to be more than enough. So we've talked about a few really awesome things about the iPad Air, but wait, because there are a few things that are kind of really annoying. Firstly, let's start off with the storage. This base model has 64 gigabytes internal, which is definitely not enough. I feel like I'm going to run out of space within the year. And upgrading to the 256 or something is a very steep price hike, almost $150 extra. Another problem I have with the iPad Air, after a whole month of using it, is that it's only good at iPad Air things. And what I mean by that is my main tablet is the Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. Both of these, they are kind of marketing them as replacing a laptop. You know, there's that marketing there. The S8 Ultra I do use as a main laptop, and with Samsung DEX, it's able to multitask amazingly well. It's super versatile, and I can set things up the way I want to set them up. On the iPad Air, not so much. You're kind of restricted to Apple's ecosystem, which is like you can only have 2 apps running at once in the multi-window mode, and so you can have your YouTube video running and notes, or you can be typing up a document with a college textbook on the other side. Like, that's about it. You're restricted to how much you can multitask on the iPad Air, and I just don't like that. I love Samsung DEX, which allows you to take your multitasking to the entirely next level. Why are they reaching out? So while the iPad Air is good at iPad Air things, it's really good at them, it's the best at them, It's really nothing more than that. It's nothing more than an iPad Air. And the reason that bugs me is that I feel that the M1 chip that's in this iPad is capable of so much more. It has so much power that is demonstrated through the gameplay of Genshin Impact and things like that, that I'm just kind of let down by how restricted I am to access the full power of this chip. Now, I do know that this iPad comes with accessories like the Magic Keyboard and the Apple Pen. I didn't want to call it the S Pen. I want to, no hate, please. With all those accessories, it does make getting work done a little bit easier, but again, you're still restricted by the interface. You can only have 2 apps open at once, and while the Magic Keyboard is, a physical typing keyboard, it definitely doesn't replace a laptop's keyboard. So I would never replace my laptop with the Magic Keyboard and the iPad Air bundle. Just not gonna happen. If you feel that your extent of usage is going to be watching videos, taking notes in class with the S Pen, or I did it, damn it. Anyways, taking notes in class, reading books and things like that, browsing the internet, these simple, plain iPad Air type things, this tablet is definitely not going to disappoint you. It is able to easily handle all of that, plus gaming, which was a pretty big surprise. But if you are looking to push the extent of your multitasking prowess, this is not going to help at all. It's restricted to 2 apps at a time. We should all know this by now, and so you're not going to be able to get any more done no matter what you do. So those are the things that annoy me about this tablet that I've been using over the past month. Now, getting back to something that's really surprising and refreshing, the battery life. Ladies and gentlemen, this thing easily lasts me an entire day, and sometimes when I'm using it a little bit less, it can easily last me multiple days. It has a very good battery, and probably to some credit, the M1 chip's efficiency in battery usage is definitely kicking in here. Tablets like the S8 Ultra from Samsung, those tablets are obviously a lot of more powerhouses, and so the battery life on the S8 Ultra, I'll need to charge it at least once a day. But I'm doing so much more on that tablet because I'm doing all that multitasking, multiple windows, running like 3-4 apps at once. There's a lot more going on, so it kind of makes sense that I would need to charge the S8 Ultra more. But this thing with this battery life is actually very, very good. I don't think anyone is going to have any complaints about the battery life in this tablet. So it's definitely worth upgrading if you're using the old iPad Air. But what about upgrading to the iPad Air Pro? Is it worth paying $200 extra? Well, the Pro does have a screen that's like 0.3 inches bigger. It has Pro Motion refresh rates. It has a better camera. It has better speakers, marginally better speakers. It does have Face ID, which this doesn't. But in my opinion, the biggest advantage of the iPad Pro is that the base model starts at 128 gigabytes, and this should be a very real consideration if you're considering buying one of these tablets. Most people will keep their iPads for a while, like 3-4 years, and so you want to have that known that if you're buying this and you only have 64 gigs, you are going to run out of storage. Genshin Impact is 14 gigs. That game I was playing, 14 gigabytes, ladies and gentlemen. So that's a big chunk out of my entire storage, and so the lifetime of the device is kind of cut short by that, and the last thing you want to start doing is storage management every single time you want to download a picture, for example. Now, if you wanted to jump up to the 256 gigabyte version of the iPad Air, that's going to be $150 extra. So that's a pretty steep price, increase, but it's still $50 less than the iPad Pro. And so for $150 extra, you're getting a lot more storage, but you're missing out on some of the features of the iPad Pro. And so in my opinion, what I would do for my needs is I would stick with the iPad Air, but just pay that extra $150 to get the 256 gigabyte variant. I don't care about Pro Motion refresh rate, it won't really matter. I don't really care about Face ID, that's just a little tiny bit of a nuisance. I don't care that it has more robust speakers. The speakers on this are perfectly fine for a lot of people. And so aside from all those like little things, I think that the larger storage capacity on this with $150 extra is the way to go. you're definitely not going to be able to do any kind of crazy multitasking, whether you do the iPad Pro or not. So that's the one. This is the one for me. Obviously though, I'm coming from a very productivity and multitasking biased approach. That's what I like to do with my tablets. I don't like to just use them for, you know, what tablets are traditionally used for. I like to push the boundaries. I like to multitask. I like to get things done on my tablets, and so far the iPad Air just isn't built for that. So it's hard for me as a reviewer to be completely honest, and that's why I'm making it clear that, you know, I like to push my tablets and I simply can't push this tablet. Is that a deal breaker? No, because that's not what this is marketing towards. This is really an iPad Air. It's really good at iPad Air things, but don't expect anything more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those are my thoughts, fam. Thoughts use bots, and those are my thoughts on this iPad Air. It's a good tablet. It's a very good tablet at what tablets do. There's no bells and whistles. It's just a solid piece of technology that'll get what it needs to get done fast. Okay, that's what it does. Would I personally buy it? I'm not entangled in the Apple ecosystem too much, so for me, I'm gonna stick with the S8 Ultra and, you know, the Samsung tablets that offer DEX, that offer you the capability to do more when you need to. But I will say that if you're an Apple fan, skip out on the iPad Pro and just get the bigger version of the iPad Air. That's just my personal opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, with all that being said, did I mention the camera's better on the Pro? I think I did. With all that being said, take it easy. Peace.